Trump admin removes report on missing Native Americans. Apparently, this was a groundbreaking report that was supposed to act as a template on how to address crimes against minorities. So this wasn't even just about Native Americans. This was about justice for minorities in general. But I guess it was deemed to be diversity and inclusion, and Trump has ended diversity and inclusion. So no investigation into kidnapped Native American women, Indigenous women. It's just no, this is very tangible harm that the Trump administration is doing with its anti-DEI policy shit. It's just, you can see it here. The Trump administration has taken down a mandated report on missing and murdered Native Americans from the Department of Justice website, outraging a number of U.S. senators. I am at least happy that this has gotten some outrage, because this is just ridiculous. This is unfair to the victims. This is unfair to the public in general. This is unfair to any other minority groups that were hoping that maybe the system will take better care of them moving forward. This is just a horrible situation across the board. U.S. Senator for Nevada, Catherine Cortez Masto, was part of the Senate committee that introduced the 2020 Not Invisible Act, which mandated the Not One More report. Notice the report had disappeared from the site in February this year, her office told Newsweek. Both Masto and U.S. Senator for Alaska, Lisa Murkowski, who chairs the Senate Indian Affairs Committee, reached out to the administration to have the report restored. But Cortez Masto's office told Newsweek they were informed the White House took it down in compliance with the executive order that determined there were only two sexes. What? Wait, hold on. Excuse me, what? The report on missing Indigenous women was removed in compliance with the executive order that determined there were only two sexes? How does that make any sense? What the hell is happening here? Indigenous women will not get justice because trans people? Cortez Masto's office said that she firmly believes this isn't about gender or DEI or wokeness. This is about keeping tribal communities safe and providing tribal leaders, service providers, and law enforcement with the tools they need. Wait, that was the justification? Sorry, we will be cutting all reports and investigation into the kidnapped, missing, or just missing Indigenous women because there are only two sexes. How are those things in any way connected? I don't see the connection. Can somebody... Am I just out of touch with the American political everything? I'm not getting it. I'm not getting the connection. Newsweek has contacted the press office of Murkowski and DOJ outside of regular working hours via email for comment. I thought this was just DEI, Oh, it's a minority, so it's diversity crap, but two sexes? I have no clue. This is so bizarre. I would really like an elaboration on this, how this has been connected to the two sexes executive order. What matters? The Not One More report was drafted following the implementation of the 2020 Not Invisible Act amid the U.S. Department of Interior described as a national crisis of American Indian and Alaska Native people facing a disproportionate risk of experiencing violence, murder, or going missing. Yeah, but how exactly does that connect to scraping reports on missing Indigenous women? A 2016 study by the National Institute of Justice also found that 81.3% of American Indian and Alaska Native women have experienced violence in their lifetime, including 56.1% who have experienced sexual violence. This act was also passed under the first Trump administration, but now Cortez Masto said it seemed the current Trump administration doesn't appear to think keeping our communities safe from violent criminals, including our tribal communities, is an important issue. Yeah, the Trump administration seems to think that it's the opposite of an important issue, that it's an issue that should just be shut down. The opposite of an important issue, I guess. A super unimportant issue. What to know? Part of the law required the Not Invisible Act Commission to report on instances of missing and murdered Indigenous peoples, tracking data on cases and increasing information sharing about the issue. The Not One More report included the findings and recommendations of the Commission following their review of the issue, alongside more than 250 testimonies from tribal members about how the crisis is affecting their lives. Vladimir says, Lucy, you should degrade your capacity to understand America's politics even further. Revelation will come with degradation. Oh my god, maybe you're right. Holy crap. Yeah, we should just not investigate missing people because, there are only two sexes. I just cannot. I cannot believe this is real. I just refuse to believe this is real. The report is extremely valuable in the fight to end violence against Native women and girls. The Not One More report was removed from the DOJ's website around the time when the Trump administration clamped down on DEI-related programs at the start of the year. Because it's so DEI to prevent women from being kidnapped. According to the journal record of a DOJ spokesperson stated that the report was removed to ensure compliance with the executive order defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government, which states women are biologically female and men are biologically male. So let me guess this straight. In order to protect women from gender ideology, in order to protect women, the government must stop investigating into violence and kidnapping of women. Okay, that makes perfect sense to me. That is certainly a one way to protect women from being alive. Vladimir says, yes, like vaccines make frogs gay, therefore we should pardon the sex offenders. True. It all makes so much sense now. It is not clear where in the order the administration makes any mention of the need to remove reports like the Not One More report. Only that agencies are required to remove all statements, policies, regulations, forms, communications, or other internal and external messages that promote or otherwise inculcate gender ideology. Yes, because preventing violence against Indigenous women is, I guess, promoting gender ideology now. It is always about those awful transgenders, isn't it, at the end of the day? It always comes down to the trans topic. Always. No matter what the topic may be. Oh, Indigenous women and violence against them? Well, there are only two sexes. Blame the transgenders for us taking down this report. Wop wop, I guess. Blame the transes and their gender ideology. The spokesperson also stated that the report was still accessible on other external websites and shared a link to the DOJ's press release regarding the implementation of the measures in the Not Invisible Act, although the report is not mentioned on the page. What people are saying. Cortez Masto told Newsweek in a statement, one of my proudest moments as a United States Senator was getting the bipartisan Not Invisible Act signed into law by President Trump. The Not Invisible Act Commission produced a report full of vital information to combat the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women and children, including testimony from law enforcement and tribal members. It also outlined critical recommendations on the next steps in addressing this crisis. Erasing this commission's report from the DOJ website is outrageous and an insult to tribal communities. I guess blame trans people. Blame gender ideology for that. Senate Indian Affairs Committee member Tina Smith said, according to the Journal Record, the Trump administration continually and seems to me purposefully misunderstands the difference between Native people and tribal nations and other important and big groups in this country. Tribal nations are not just another constituency. They're sovereign nations, sovereign people, and just so offensive to see that the administration isn't interested in understanding what's causing the epidemic of violence and what we should do about it. I actually want to. This is interesting. Tribal nations. I want to read about tribal nations. They are sovereign people. Okay, I want to read about them more. We're gonna do a whole thing about it at some point, I think. What happens next? Despite the senator's efforts to urge the administration to put the report back on the DOJ's website, the report is still not there, and the administration does not appear to have any intention to revert its removal. So there you go. I guess as long as we know that there are two sexes, and as long as women, including Indigenous women, can be protected from the vile grasp of gender ideology, they might as well be kidnapped, killed, or whatever else. It doesn't matter. What matters is combating the disgusting transgenders, I guess. I don't know what to say. This is classic Trump. It's just, yeah. This one was short, but it's just, I don't know. It's insane to me. I did not expect the justification to be this. I did not expect the justification to be, oh, two sexes. But here we are.